Welcome to episode 18 of Bonding and Beer. I'm Rolando Nunez. I'm your host. And today we have a guest. Adamo. Let's go, my guy. What has Rolando been up to? Well, I haven't traveled much, thank God, but I have been putting together my 2025 travel schedule. It is going to be heavy. I'm going to accrue a ridiculous amount of miles in 2025, but we have great plans, great things, and, putting it all together, trying to just get everything ready so I don't have to worry too much about, things coming up as surprises. Everything is being scheduled, so 2025 is ready to go, so we're really excited about that. The only reason I love traveling is because I have the opportunity to try new craft beer from those places that I go to. So, it's just another reason to go places and try the beer. And of course, I get to share with some clinicians and wonderful dentists from all over the world. I also enjoy that. Going to the airport, getting through, security and the luggage and the hotels, that's kind of painful, but it is part of the gig. So it is what it is. Any stories to share from my recent travels? No, not really, because I haven't traveled in the past few months. But I will say that Bisco had a fun event. And a fun event, I think we have one every quarter or something like that, or every month. I'm not sure. But this one included cakes. These absolutely fantastic bundt cakes. And everyone in the company got not only one cake, but maybe two cakes. And you saw a lot of people eating cakes. Very small, like personal size. Now everyone is fatter. Everyone is a little bit heavier because they ate so much cake. And that's okay because 'tis the season. 'Tis the season to get fat, to enjoy life. It's a wonderful thing. We owe that to our very own Mrs. Terry, who's sitting in the front. She's the one who ordered all the cakes. And then everyone came to the fun event. I never seen so many Bisco employees and at one event eating cake and getting fatter. It was happening in front of my eyes. It was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So if you want to know a little more about what's going on with the Bonding and Beer podcast, you should drop a follow on Instagram, Bonding and Beer. We have a YouTube page, Bonding and Beer, and we also have an email where you can send us your questions, recommendations for beer, which is bondingandbeer@gmail.com. In the description of this video, there will be a link. You can click on that link and you can subscribe, you can follow, you can share, you can like, just be a part of the community. And we are really grateful to those who are already following and subscribe. Thank you so much. Let's go. So I want to give a little bit of context and a little bit of history why Adamo is our first guest in our Bonding and Beer podcast. Adamo and I are friends. We've been friends for a long time. I consider him a friend, a dear friend, and I know he also thinks of me as a dear friend. I met him when he was, doing his the thought process that he had at the time was to improve his restorative dentistry skills. And we had long conversations about bonding and about restorative dentistry overall. And I am a witness of his growth as a clinician and also as a human being. It's incredible. It's crazy. Dr. Adamo Notarantonio is the current president of the American Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry. In order to do that, you have to not only become a member of the Academy, but then you need to be an accredited member of the Academy, and then you need to be a fellow of that Academy in order to become president. And that is something that only a few have accomplished in the world. So he's one of them, and he is right now the president. He's representing this fine society, this fine academy. So it's outstanding. It's just so wonderful. And to me, and to Jeremy, the producer, and to everyone here, Chase and Cameron and Amanda, it's an honor to have him here. And share the experience of being the president, but also to share with us a little bit about the journey. What does it take to become an accredited member of the American Academy of Cosmetic Dentistry? It's just a little guideline. It's a little conversation that we're going to have while drinking some fantastic beer. Speaking of beer, see what Jeremy, the producer, brought us, and let's crack it open and have a little taste. Let's go. Okay, so we got two magnificent things today. First of all, we got Adamo. Thank you, Adamo. Thank you for showing up. Absolutely. And Adamo was kind enough, gracious enough to send us this beer right here called Optical Illusion. And this is from Blue Point Brewing. Adamo is a very particular guy because he decided that he's only going to do the podcast episode if he's drinking some crappy beer from New York or New Jersey or from whatever the hell he is. Right? What was it, like Long Island or something?
So listen, I'm going to show you what good beer is really like on this episode. Let me give you a little fun fact, because I got a little homework from you. You told me about the brewery description and all that fun stuff. But this beer was inspired by the ancient Egyptian lore of stuffing pillows with hops. And that would elicit mind-bending dreams. So after this is done, you're going to change religions, nationalities, and races. And it's going to be all over, bro. It's going to be all over. So you're welcome early.
Okay. I'm going to describe this beer. Again, the beer name is Optical Illusion from Blue Point Brewing in New York. It is an East Coast IPA. And again, for those of you who like craft beer, you understand this whole East Coast, West Coast IPA, American IPA, whatever. But they are different and they do carry a distinctive taste, each one of them. Here's the description from the website. Our piney, dank, and mind-bending East Coast IPA is a huge part of Blue Point's history. As Long Island's original IPA, it is often the first IPA of many local drinkers who pass the love for this crushable IPA from generation to generation. So was this the first IPA you ever had?
It was not the first, but it was the first local that, like, when the craft beer thing started, this brewery's Optical just burst on the scene in Long Island. So it was one of the original in Long Island that everybody knew. Like, it's sold in 7-Eleven. So it's not like a craft beer store to find it now.
Yeah. We have something here, too, like that. It's called Revolution. That's our brewery here in Chicago. So I'm going to open this guy. Okay, I'm going to open this guy. Here's that sound. That is the sound of joy. That is the sound that is going to get me through the next couple of hours. Now, I know we got haters. Jeremy, the producer, you know this. They hate the way I pour beer, Adamo, because they start saying, I don't know how to pour it.
I'm going with you.
There we go.
Let's follow your lead. Teach me.
Okay, here we go. Just tilt it a little bit, and let's just make sure that we do this correctly. And then at the end, you just put it straight like this so you get a little bit of foam. You see, this is how you do it. To all the haters out there, you need to stop. You need to stop.
You've now taught me bonding and how to pour
beer. Yeah, there we go. Let's smell it here. Yes, it is piney. IPA.
Sip, sip, sip. Sip, sip.
Oh, wow. Adamo. This is, if you like IPAs, if you're just listening to this instead of watching, if you like IPAs, this is it. This is a true IPA. This is what IPA is about. It's bitter, it's strong, and like I say, it gives you a little kick in the ass. You know what I'm saying? A little kick in the ass.
Very true. Cheers.
Cheers. All right. Okay, now let's talk about what we came here to do. All right. Well, I already gave a little bit of introduction. I described the way we met. I described being a witness to your journey, where you started when we met. You were just trying to, increase or become more proficient in restorative dentistry, and how bonding was very important for you to get there. And that's basically how we met. And then, of course, I did describe how you not only became a member of the AACD, but also you became an accredited member of the AACD, and also you became a fellow of the AACD, and now you are the current president of the AACD. So one of the things, I'm going to say it again, being in the outside and knowing you as Adamo, all right? I know a lot of people know you as Adamo because you're extremely authentic, but you are Dr. Adamo Notarantonio, the president of the AACD. Why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're located, and what is it that you do?
Sip, sip, sip.
Thank you, Rolando. Yeah, I mean, you've seen me from the very, very beginning, because the first ever touch I got, I would say, not even with speaking, but involvement with companies and KOL stuff, was with Bisco. I mean, I say it all the time. People ask me why I love Bisco products, and my dead honesty is I think they're the best bonding materials in the world, and not because they're my friends, but they also did give me my first shot. I mean, you guys believed in me when I was a nobody. Gary Alex mentioned my name and said, this kid's going to be something, and brought me to my first KOL meeting where I met you.
Yes.
And from that moment on, it went fast and it went crazy. I mean, I'm a general dentist. I'm like everybody else. I'm not anything special, nor was I when I started. I went into a private practice in 2004, and it was a fee for service. Really good practice. I met great people. I had a great mentor in Gary Alex, who was a big friend of Bisco, as you guys all know. And when we had a study club at my office, he saw me present a case, and he looked me dead in the face and he said, "You have ridiculous hands, but you don't know anything. So I'm going to take you to
That's so
Gary, right?"
Yeah, so Gary.
Typical Gary. So then he started, let me chain off there. He was like, "What do you bond your veneer with?" And I told him, he goes, "They'll be out in 3 years." And I was like, "Oh." So he said to me, he goes, "I want you to do two things. I want you to go to the Dawson Academy and learn occlusion so you can do bigger cases, because you have that ability." He goes, "And then I'm going to take you to an AACD meeting." And I was like, "What the hell is AACD?" So it was Atlanta 2007. He brought me there, and I remember seeing the posters when people get accredited. It would be like, a couple photos of their case with their picture, and I was like, oh my God, one day I would kill to do dentistry like that. It was
That's
just
crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
And I went to 2008 in New Orleans, and then I took my first Koi Center course in 2009 in March, and I went from Seattle to AACD in Hawaii. I took my written exam. I passed, went back home, and then within 1 year, 2 submissions, I was accredited. So I got accredited fast and furious. And listen, I didn't get accredited fast and furious because I'm some rock star who has ridiculous hands. I had the best mentor in Brad Olson in the world, because I must have sent that guy 90 cases, and he would tell me, "Throw that in the garbage, it's not good." And I learned it every one. But when Brad said I would be comfortable submitting, I knew I passed.
Brad is Dr. Olson. He's a little different now. He's a little different now. And a shout out to Dr. Olson if he ever gets to hear this. I remember I did one of the Impress events in Charleston, and with you and Amanda, and he was there. And I mean, come on, what are you going to teach Brad Olson? He was there just to be there. He just wanted to hang out with the boys, right? That's the way I see it. I mean, what am I going to teach Dr. Olson, right? And I remember I was talking about, hey, it doesn't matter if you have your office next to a laundromat or something along those lines.
True.
And he pulled me, I did not know. And then he pulled me aside, say, hey, listen, my office is next to a laundromat in a strip mall. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I didn't know, Dr. Olson. I'm so sorry. And he was, he's a class act, dude. It was so great. Yes.
Class is the best. The best human.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got accredited pretty quick, and then that's when really the change started, Rolando. People started asking me to lecture on cosmetics because I wasn't doing any cosmetic lectures. I had nothing to show before that, right? So that happened. Then Nelson Rigo invited me to be an AACD examiner for accreditation. So then I got
who's Nelson Rigo? And I'm sorry.
No, Nelson Rigo is a phenomenal lab technician, past accreditation chairman. He has a lab in California called Smile Designs by Rigo. Most AACD people use them. His brother Ron is one of the ceramists. They do beautiful work. So he invited me to exams, and then somebody pushed me to get on the board, and now I went from a little board member to chairman of this and chairman of that, and up the ladder and it's 10 years that I'm on the board as of this year, and yeah, it's my presidency year, which is insane. I mean, it went so fast and so big. I don't know what the hell happened. I really don't. It's just, I used to go away for like 3 lectures a year, and now I could do 3 a weekend sometimes. It's nuts.
No, it's so, when I went to the meeting that you kindly invited me to share podium with all these dudes, I remember I was there, and Carlos Carvalho was there, and I mean, all the heavy hitters, right? And people would ask me, hey, how well do you know Adamo? And I'm like, I kind of know him, I mean, they say, how'd you get invited to this? And, I'd be like, no, Adamo invited me. And for some people, like newcomers to the AACD, it was mind-blowing that, like you were so accessible and approachable. And that's what I like about the AACD, is that even though it's a pretty large organization, people are willing to talk, people are willing to share, people are, they can feel comfortable not knowing, but also knowing that there might be somebody that can help them out. There is a little bit more, it's a little different in other organizations. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's funny you say that, Rolando, because I think, unfortunately, social media paints this grandiose thing that accreditation is this unachievable. You see people like Amanda on, and you're like, oh my God, I'm never going to be that. And the truth of the matter is, of course, you can. I mean, you got to work your ass off. Don't get me wrong, but some people feel like the ACD is just this elite, and it is not at all. And the only way I could describe that to people is you need to go to a meeting, because even first timers. First of all, the stuff they do for new members to make new member breakfast, new member introduction, you meet people and you meet like-minded people who, there is no arrogance. There is not arrogance in the AACD when it comes to accredited people or fellows. I mean, listen, I'm a perfect example, bro. I'm a fellow, I'm the president, and I'm faculty of the Coy Center. But meanwhile, I answer every single message that comes on social media about what dial I got to change on my camera. So we want to help people. Accreditation's not unachievable. Fellowship's not unachievable. It is hard work. Don't get me wrong. But when did you ever do something that was worthwhile that wasn't hard? I mean, look at with marathons and triathlons. Come on, bro. I mean, people think, unfortunately, our world is, social media makes life look too easy. The reality is it's not. That's all BS. It's all garbage.
Yeah, but it also overwhelms people when they see, like you said, you see certain people achieving certain things, and you think, oh, am I going to be able to attain that? And look, man, I went to that meeting with you guys, and I sat during the gala with a bunch of guys from India, right, who were presenting a cosmetic case. They were defending it against, it wasn't a debate. It was just, this is what we think. It was this group of guys from India who were I think the branch of the AACD in India, right? And they were presenting it, and they were the Swedes, right? I think, the guys.
No, you're right. You're 100% correct.
I ended up drinking with the Swedes under some stairs, and because these guys were doing these what do you call it, the nicotine thing that they put under their cheek because they don't want to see, they don't want to show everyone that they smoke, and they're sticking this thing all over. It was awesome, dude. I mean, I ended up with them. You know, the party was over. They're like, hey, come with us. And I'm like, who are you guys? We're from Sweden. And I'm like, sounds about right. And I ended up with them. And it was awesome, you know. And and then the next day, like, we're totally hungover having breakfast. And they're like, bacon, this is awesome. And I'm like, these guys are awesome. And now I have like 5 friends from India. And 5 guys from, more than 5, there were like 7 guys from Sweden. It was awesome. So that kind of experience, you don't get to, you know, have it when you go to other places where people are not as open. People are, you know, in their silos, in their groups, and This is different. This was, hey, everybody's the same, everybody is enjoying, and everybody, in pretty much you can do whatever you want, and that's how I felt.
But let's call a spade a spade. When do you not feel like you can do whatever you want?
That's the thing. But when I go to places where they want me to refrain myself from doing whatever I want, and then I'm like, oh, this place is filled with stiff people. But when I went to AACD, look, I am coming down from the hotel room into this huge, outdoor bar. And who's sitting at the bar? Patrick Callahan with 2 other dudes. And they're like, yo! And I'm like, bro. Right there, I knew it was going to be a good show.
You knew it was going to be a party.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Listen, I want to ask you something for the people that are listening, you know. If I asked you, hey, I want to become accredited. Just accredited, which is the first step, right? Help me with my journey. What would you tell me?
It's a really simple answer, Rolando. I would tell you, number 1, join as a member.
Yes.
If you already are, go to the next meeting. I think, yes, they have online central in this, but you don't feel that fire. You don't see that level of dentistry. I remember my first meeting there was a panel. It was Dawson. It was Spear. I was like, what the hell am I? And then these crazy cosmetic cases that I couldn't even fathom looking at. The hands-on courses. But then you'll see the older members that are examiners, and they want to help you, and they want to help you through this journey. So when you're surrounded by that and you feel that fire inside, it's like taking a really good CE course that on Monday morning you're jacked up to ramp up your whole office.
Yes.
This is that on steroids, because this is not just changing a little bit about your office. This will change your entire life. Because I'm telling you firsthand, I did okay when I was just an associate and I had good hands and I did some decent cosmetic work. When I got accredited and word got out and people started to see my dentistry, I got real busy. When I became a fellow, you ain't getting into my office for 3 months. So it will change your whole lifestyle of how you practice, how you look at things. I mean, I look at stuff I did 15 years ago, 20 years ago now. I presented it at AACD, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. But back then, I thought I was the cat's meow because it was pretty nice. But the level that you reach and the like-minded people you surround yourself with is insane, because everybody wants to be the best. And it's not a competition. No one's fighting each other. They just want to help you become better. So you have to go to a meeting. So if you told me, Adamo, I need to be accredited, I would say, Rolando, if you don't show up in San Diego, you have a better chance of seeing Jesus, because you're not going to feel that at all. You're not. You're not going to feel the passion to change your life on Monday.
I know exactly what you mean. Now, people go and they become, you become a member, you go through the process of going into going to your first meeting. Once you're there are key things you got to do. What are the most important workshops that you would recommend for people to do?
Listen, this year is actually a little different. We've changed it up a little bit. We have some repeat, but for a while, it's been the same old speakers, and we wanted to give it a new spin. What we have not changed is the hands-on section. I think that's what distinguishes the AACD. And I find that, I'm not going to tell you, you must take Brian Lesage's Case Type 5 full-day composite course, because it's phenomenal. I took it when I was going through accreditation. However, if composite veneers are not what you're doing in your office on a day-to-day, maybe not. Maybe you want to take a class 4 because you're going to start to see more broken fractures. Then the word gets out that you're good in composite, and all of a sudden your orthodontist sending you every peg, and you need to learn how to do composite veneers, and you go, I need to go back and take Brian's because now I'm going to be the composite veneer master in my town. That's how the migration happened for me. You know, word got out that I was good with composite. I have 67 general dentists within a 1 mile circle of my office. And I'm going to tell you, no BS, 10 of them send me their anterior composites because they don't think they can do them good enough. And they refer them. Now, I gladly send the patient back because I'm a gentleman and I appreciate. But that says a lot. When a general dentist is referring to you in your on your own block to do something that they're not that well trained in, that speaks a lot. Now, the academy is what got me there because I didn't really know about hands-on when I first went to a meeting, and then I signed up for one and then another. So I'm not going to tell you need to take Newton Falls, you need to take Rotary Thomas. There's so many good ones. You need to look and you need to take hands-on for sure, especially in
okay. So you need to take hands-on, and you need to take hands-on composite work.
Yeah,
sure.
Just hands-on veneer. But listen, how many newbies out of school are their bosses giving them all the veneer cases? They're not.
No, they're not.
Still, and I will say this, and I said this at the lecture because I had a lecture. I was the opening at LA Dental Symposium on Saturday morning,
and the closer too,
and the closer. But the guy who closed on Friday, Rolando, he was showing how to take premolars out, put them in centrals. I was like, now I got to show you composite artistry. I'm like, what the hell? How do I follow that? This guy's right? But I made a point. I said, it's not going to be as spectacular in that sense, but I will tell you something. To become the best cosmetic dentist on the planet, if you don't know how to handle composite, you're out.
If you're relying purely on ceramics, it's not. You need to have.
You go to the meeting, you take it at one hands on just to get your mouth wet a little, and then the fire will start. I mean, I haven't seen anyone who's gone that was like, it wasn't what I expected. Every young person, every newbie is overwhelmed with the quality of the dentistry they've seen because they don't see that in corporate offices. They don't see that anywhere. But when you see that in person and then you meet the people you look up to and you realize, oh my God, that's just a regular dude I can have a beer with. He's not
that's just a regular dude you can have a beer with. That's what's beautiful about it. Yeah, 100%. Now, I'm assuming that the AACD has a photography course, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Who's doing that?
Zach Sisler.
Okay, so
Zach Sisler he's accredited member. He for many years it was Brett Magnuson, who's kind of retired now. I taught Zach photography in his office. He hired me years ago, back in the day, right when I learned after Eduardo and
Chewy, yeah.
And he's unbelievable. I mean, he's amazing. And when it came to the discussion, because obviously I'm on the board and I have some decision in that, they were like photography, and they looked at me and Amanda, and I was like, oh no, Zach. I'm like, you need a new face who's young and can show these people that anything is possible because he learned from the people above him and he's willing to give back, and he does an outstanding job. It's phenomenal.
That's awesome. Okay, so you're talking composite, your basic composite to start with. You need to do the photography, right? Now
without question.
Yeah. Now, I do remember back in the day that there was like a course that gave you like a guideline or how to like a walkthrough accreditation. Say you need to do this. You need to do. You still have that, like intro to accreditation or something.
So there are 2 workshops that used to be separate. This is the first year we're going to combine both speakers. The accreditation workshop, which will tell you what each case type is.
Yes.
All that, what to do, whatever, was Brad Olson's baby.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we had a criteria workshop where it went through the 89 criteria that we would judge you on. What to look for is done by Scott Finley. Mm-hmm. So now they combined it into one. So it's going to be an accreditation criteria workshop. Scott and Brad, same stage, same length of time, just put into one. I mean, it's ridiculous.
That alone right there is pace going to the AACD event. Having Scott Finley and Brad Olson give you a presentation, that right there, that alone.
You could go home right after that. You're done.
100%. 100%. 100%. Now, here's the thing.
Sip, sip, sip.
You and I mean, you were, I want to say,
confident
enough to invite me to participate in your continuing education program. I know Amanda wasn't. But that's okay.
He's a little hesitant, bro.
Especially after the first 5 minutes of F-bombs that I was throwing over there in Charleston. That's a great story. That's a great story. However, you do have a continuing education program, and it has different components.
Yes.
Right? So, I really want you to talk about this because I believe that if you're completely lost in the world and you want to figure out what to do, and you look at places like COIS, it's a huge investment. Let's be real, it's a huge investment. But you start looking around. I always tell people when they ask me, say, "Hey, look into this." You have Adamo and Amanda who have a very interesting approach to continuing education, and you're gonna, by the time you're done, you're gonna be so much better compared to when you started within a week or two. So why don't you tell me what is it that you are offering, and how does that tie to the accreditation journey?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, thank you for being a part of it. We love you. Amanda was a little hesitant because she was hesitant for a lot of reasons. The first 3 courses we decided to do were pretty simple. One was composite, one was photography, and then I was like, let's do a rubber dam course. She's like, you're insane. No one's coming. I'm like, I'm telling you. I go, and I got the perfect guy for bonding. She's like, who? I go, Rolando. She's like, I don't know, Rolando. I go, don't worry, you will. So within the first 3 minutes, she's elbowing me in the back on, Adamo, he said the F word 37 times. I go, oh, it's going to get worse. Just wait. But don't worry, everyone's going to love him. But by 2 hours in, she loved you, and she still loves you.
Oh, I love her to death. Yes.
Those were our first 3 courses. What happened was we met randomly, and to make a long story short, we decided to do a 1-day composite course together. We sold it out instantly in Charleston, and the reviews that we got were, we want more, and we want it longer. We want 2 days. So that's when Impress started. This 18 was the first course in November. In 19 was the first course you did with us. It was one rubber dam, 1 composite, and 1 photography course. And, Amanda and I, as different as we are very similar in certain things, and it's what we believe in dentistry. We practice the same mindset, responsible aesthetics. We're not aggressive dentists. We try to do the proper dentistry, the right dentistry, but also in education, we try to teach. So when you walk out of either my lecture, her lecture, or our course, Monday morning, you're a new dentist.
Yes.
You can add 55 things. So every one of our courses, whatever it's designed to, is Monday morning applicable, and it's about 75% hands-on. The only course that's only 50% is because I give you a whole day, but the other half rubber dam.
Well, and we do a little bit of hands-on when we do our bonding competition. So, but yes, there is a lecturing involved on that day. Yeah.
But for the most part, it is a lot of hands-on and Monday morning dentist. We don't want to teach any course where people leave confused and think they have to invest another $30,000 to really learn what we were trying to teach in the 2 days.
Oh.
So that's been our mindset. So now we have 5 courses. We have rubber dam and bonding with you. We have photography. We have composite. We have smile design and injection molding, and we have veneer prep, temp impression. So,
wow.
But it's all of them are 2 days. Sometimes we combine to do week long, whatever. But the goal is and if we ever put another one in, it's going to be something that you can take into your office Monday, and it should change the way you practice.
That's awesome. I love that continuing education program, and it's been such a joy to see how you've diversified to different aspects. Kaleidoscope, which is, I believe, is a photography component. I mean, it's just awesome. I just love it. All right. Well, listen. I hope that all of our listeners and the people who are also watching that, you know, they have, if they had any sort of curiosity regarding the AACD, now they have more information. I highly recommend that you attend an AACD event. People are extremely nice, approachable. At the end of the day, everyone is doing the same thing. There is no showboating. There is no show off. People are just extremely cool. Yes, if you say, oh, you know, I'm doing veneers. So is everybody here, you. What are you talking about? Oh, you know, I do composite work. Well, how about the other 1,000 members of this event here? What do you think they're doing? You know, sticking their fingers up their nose? What are you talking about? So there is nothing to show off for. You know, people are just, I want to say people were legitimately happy to be there. They were enjoying themselves. People were just having fun. Now, oh, by the way, what is the website people can visit to look at your continuing education program?
Yeah, so it's www.impress with one S, IMPRES courses.com.
If you have any questions about Impress, if you have any questions for Bonding and Beer, you can send us a message through our social media account, Instagram, Bonding and Beer, or Adamo Elvis, okay? Now, I got nothing left. I am getting kind of tipsy, and I have a meeting with Karen in a couple of minutes. Guess how that meeting is going to go? The only thing they won't allow us to smoke cigarettes. But, you know, in the grand scheme of things, we can live without the cigarettes. You know, cigars, I'm not too sure about that. Cigarettes, they're not so good for you. But beer, they allowed it. Even Dr. Su's office is in front of this. He knows we're drinking, or at least I'm drinking. Jeremy, the producer, cannot drink here yet. I'm trying to get permission for him, clear him, you know. Hopefully, after this little conversation I had with Adamo, you can see Adamo is just a regular guy, you know, your everyday dentistry that has a crazy amount of skill. But those skills don't come, you know, it's not something that you're born with. It's something that you have to work on in order to get them. So you have to do training. It's a constant. Training is of the essence to become better. So road tip, find training. You know, whether you want to go through the Coyce journey, you want to go through the Dawson journey, you want to go through the Frank Spear journey, whatever journey is that you want to go through, just do it. Because where you are right now and where you could be after you're done with that program is only going to be a exponentially % better than what you are now. So go for it. Continuing education, that's where it's at. That is where it's at. It's not necessarily academic programs in universities. Those are fine. But continuing education outside, on the street, in the wild, that's where it's at. That's where you're going to get your skills. You're going to meet people. You're going to be able to connect. So that's my other road tip. Now, let's review this beer. So, yes. What is the name of the beer? Optical Illusion by Blue Point Brewing in New York. It is hitting me hard.
You never had it, though.
I have never. No. Never. And I've been to your house. I've been to your parents' house, and I don't recall this thing because I would have remembered. For sure.
Orlando, the Godfather does not allow this in his house. That's why you didn't have it there. He only likes wine.
Of course. He's the Godfather. The Godfather is Adamo's father. Yes, and I totally agree. You got to do in the Godfather's house what the Godfather demands, and that's it. I don't drink wine, but when I'm there, if I'm not drinking wine, I'm myself because I think he's going to do something crazy. So if he says, you need to drink some wine, of course, sir, Mr. Notarantonio, you know, and then he'll put his hand on my head and be, you little and then I'll drink the wine because that's what he does. I know this dude. Okay, anyway, so this guy, let's see if the description matches the flavor. Right? Is it piney, dank, and mind-bending? Yes.
Sip, 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 sip.
For sure. This is a true East Coast IPA, for sure. It's extremely strong. It's bitter. Great aftertaste, okay? Now, I am going to give it a score, but Adamo, the score is 1 to 5, and you can give it fractions, whatever. So what do you give this one?
I mean, I enjoy IPAs. I think this is a very balanced one. I'm going to give this one a 4.3.
You know, that's crazy because in my mind, I was going to give it a 4.4. So 4.4, 4.3, 4.35. That's what we're giving this optical illusion. It's awesome. Definitely. Remember, if it's higher than 4, it's a must-have. Okay? If it's 5, it's a you have to have it. If it's 3, okay. If it's 2, you need to flush it down the toilet. If it's 1, you need to hit somebody in the face. The person that gave you that beer, you just slap it in that face and that person's face, and we're good to go. Okay, that's the score, scale, so people know what we're talking about here. Now, we got a couple of questions, Adamo. And these ones are for you. From Danny Chapters. I have some questions about becoming accredited. What does it involve and how long does it take? I think you already explained this, okay? You already explained this, right?
Yeah, I mean, I could give them the time frame in terms of the technicalities if you want, but so let me break down the process quickly. The first step when you decide to embark is written exam. After you pass the written exam, your clock starts. You have 5 years to submit 5 cases, case-specific, specific photography, specific requirements. I'm not going to go through each one because that takes too long. If you don't finish within 5 years, they'll give you one more extension. So you can have a second 5 years. So it's maximum 10 or out, okay? How long does it take depends on the person, right? Like I said, I know people who went down to the wire. I know people who did it really fast. But that is a little different. What does it involve? It takes a strong mind, because I will tell you the truth. One case type in particular took me 11 appointments, 4 hours per appointment, and I cried on the way home every single time thinking I was never going to do it. So
is that the 10 composite veneer case?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. And thank God it was my cousin's wife. And when I told her I didn't need her back because I quit, she begged me to finish. So every week she would show up in my office for free for 4 hours. And I'll tell you, that'll test your mind and your soul. But if you can do that and get through it, there's nothing you cannot do at all. I mean, that was brutal. So it takes grit, determination, and a strong stomach, and a lot of investments in Kleenex, because there are going to be some tears. Trust me.
Hey, but, if you put a good effort, the reward is usually better, right? So here's question number 2 from Ella Flanagan. Joining the AACD seems a bit daunting. It's funny that this is a thing. It's a thing, It's not. It's like, let me say this. Adamo has said it. I'm going to reinforce this. You need to go to a meeting just for funsies. 1 year. Invest in that meeting for funsies. You're not even thinking about accreditation. You're not even thinking, no, just go for funsies. And you will meet a fantastic group of people.
Yeah.
Just fantastic group of people. I'm just saying. So here's a question. Joining the AC seems a bit daunting. Is there someone that can help me along the way, like a mentor? How does that?
Easy. Rolando, you said it. Go to the meeting. As a new member, you will go to a new member breakfast. You'll meet many of mentors. You'll go to a new member reception. People will find you because you're going to wear a specific badge that we all know that you're a new member. We're going to come up to you, and you will meet plenty of people, and you'll find someone that you really interact with, and I promise you, they will help you. They will mentor you. They will guide you. Everybody in that academy, accredited or not accredited, doesn't just have to be accredited members. The non-accredited members that have been there forever love the academy, and they're willing to give back. For whatever reason, accreditation wasn't a journey for them. They didn't need it, or it wasn't for them. That's fine.
But they love the meeting. They love
Yes.
They created their own journey.
100%. 100%.
Yes. All right. Here's a third question from Devin Michaels. You have talked about smash burgers in the past. Oh, here we go. But does your love for smash burger transfer to cooking in general? Are you a good cook? You betcha I'm a good cook. And let me tell you something. My wife, from 1 to 10, if I have to put a little score on her, I would say 6.3. Solid. Now, if you look at me, I'm probably a good 3.1. I was able to score that 6 because I told her I can cook. And she said, you can cook. And she said, I cannot cook, but I can do bathrooms and stuff, like clean stuff, And I said, great, we will make a great team. And now I am basically a slave for every time she wants something. And cleaning the bathroom, let's be honest, it doesn't require a lot of skill. But cooking, that's a different story, my friend, my dear Devin. So, yes, smash burgers, passion, anything that you can put on top of a fire, I'm all for that. Listen, Adamo, it's always a pleasure seeing you, my friend. It's always a pleasure sharing with you, and it's always a pleasure just having you around. You bring such a great energy, even if it's remote. So I want to thank you for, coming here today and sharing with us. Jeremy, the producer, does a great job making the best out of this nonsense that we've created today. I want to thank our subscribers, our listeners. Remember, Instagram, Bonding and Beer, Instagram, Adamo Elvis, Instagram, Impress Courses. We have our YouTube where you can subscribe, Bonding and Beer, and then of course our email is bondingandbeer@gmail.com. Adamo, thank you so much, my guy. I'm gonna let you be, and take care, my guy. I'm Rolando Nunez, your host, and today's episode is going... that. Okay.